Okay, this is my 100th attempt at an intro. I am gonna show you how to use this transfer machine. So it will take an image, which we're gonna do a few. It will take this image and it will transfer it onto your stencil paper. And then you start the process, cut that out, prep the skin, and lay your stencil to then begin tattooing. I don't know why that's taken me so many times to introduce, but this is what we're gonna start with in the back of the machine. So when I ordered this machine, it was off of Amazon. I think it was around $100. They have, I want to say, like $50 to hundreds of dollars worth of machines with all mixed reviews from my research. So this one had mixed reviews. People said it jammed, that the art didn't transfer fully. And I always just like weigh out what comes more, negative reviews or the positive reviews. And this one, to me, I just researched it for so long. This one to me was the one I chose out of all of them. It doesn't have a name. I could look back and see exactly which one I ordered, because another thing that was kind of overwhelming was when I got on to Amazon, not having enough knowledge on what I wanted to order. All of them look relatively similar, so it was very like a big process, because I didn't want to invest the money in something, and I know you can send it back and such, but I didn't want to invest in something that I didn't know enough about. So it was just a whole process. Anyway, though, it came with this machine. It comes with the power cord. You don't have to purchase that separately or anything. And then it came with the instruction manual, which has been so helpful, because no matter how many times I attempt to use this, I always reference this, because when I'll show you here, there are different settings on here that you set up in order to get the right type of image. So basically you have to figure out the image that you're using, what type of line work it is, and transfer it correctly to the paper. And so this has been super helpful. And then also it came with a couple sheets of the tattoo transfer paper, you know, the stencil sheets here. Except I ordered, this was also on Amazon, I ordered a big pack of it also, because I just knew that I was going to be blowing through it or messing up on it. And this was pretty inexpensive. I think this was like $8, and it came with 120 sheets. So that was super helpful. Let's plug it in first. That's what we have to do to start it. The only complaint I do have about this machine, I don't know if it's like this with all the other machines, but this cord is extremely short. A lot of the times I am printing my stencils out on the floor because it is barely long enough to reach to a table. Right here I have like an extension cord set up just so I can show you. But back here you just match the cord to the backing. And you want to make sure it's pushed all the way in. And then it'll beep, and your lights will all light up here. And this is where, if you don't save, and maybe you just have this knowledge, but if you don't save the settings or the instruction manual, this is what it will tell you, like what you need on and off right here. That was super overwhelming when I first got out. Was like, I have no idea. And so the settings are mirror, photo, deepness, and deepness 2. There's an error button. That was something I had read about, that people were putting the paper in and maybe not proper, because I find if I hold the paper as it comes out, which I'll show you that it feeds through a lot cleaner. Not that I haven't jammed this up, but it is fairly easy to get unjammed. Your paper will just not move through it, basically. And so it will pop open. It pops open here. You know, this is where it feeds the paper in. This slot here is where you put your design in. And that's another thing too, is I was seeing that people were having problems getting it to transfer, but you have to put the image face down. You have to have everything set up in the right direction for the picture to transfer. It's not as simple. It is, once you get used to it, it's simple as putting it in there and transferring it, which I have that in like one of my first tattoo videos showing myself printing one of the stencils. But it does take a minute to learn like the trick behind it. And so I have 4 different stencils here. I have not drawn a lot of things. I have used others' drawings, but I use a lot of just basic design, pre-pictured things. I'm practicing, so I don't always see necessary to just draw out this elaborate design myself and then make the stencil when I'm most of the time just practicing on fake skin or myself, and I'm not very particular. I just want the practice, basically. So I take my design. You know what? Let's start with the paper first, actually. Where'd I put? Oh, here's my piece. Okay. So when you get your paper here, this is your tattoo paper, your stencil paper. It has a bunch of different layers. Okay? There are 4 separate layers to this paper. Now, when you go to make your stencil, you are going to pull up the first piece and you're going to remove this sheet. This sheet is not needed. This sheet is protection between the ink and the stencil paper. You do not need that sheet. If you don't remove it, nothing will print. It will not transfer to the right sheet of paper. Actually, I don't know if it would transfer to this, but this is not going to lay on your skin. This is just trash. You can just toss it. And then you want to take your sheet, the ink piece and the top piece, and separate it from the yellow. You're going to lift up your what is this? This is, you know, the whatever. You're going to lift that part up. You're going to feed this in. This is important. You're going to feed it in with the white side up and the ink piece together. Okay? Then you're going to snap it shut. Do you hear it loading the paper? Okay, so as I was saying, when it feeds through, you want to be able to pull it up and out straight. I don't let this just roll on its own because it just gets jammed up. Okay, I'm just going to stop talking so much. And then this is your design, right? I'm going to do some filler work. I have these bigger honeycombs printed out. Oh, here's a good point. So see these are Sharpied because when I originally printed these, I was kind of low on ink, I suppose, or something, and it wasn't showing up on the stencil. I just Sharpied this over so it was darker. Then you're going to put it in your face down. You're going to put it into your machine. See these little buttons? This is your guide. It tells you right here. So we want a pure black. We'll just do the fine line picture. Like, this is what we want our stencil to look like. So it says you're going to have it photo off, and you're going to have deepness 1 off, so that needs to be off. Just kidding, that one right there. You're going to turn deepness 2 on. Now mirror. This button is to mirror the image exactly like it is, which I've made this mistake so many times. Like if I need writing or something, and this is all trial and error when you're learning. When you need writing, you have to do it the opposite way. So however this is working out, if you understand what I'm saying, like sometimes you don't want the image mirrored. You need it to be the opposite of the way you put it in there. That button is what that's for. So you can either turn that on or off. I just want it to mirror it. It doesn't matter what direction this comes out. So then you are going to push copy. It's going to start to feed the image through that feeder and through here. And it just transfers. See, my paper is a little crooked. Well, no, it's not. I guess it's really not. Whatever. It kind of is, because you would think it'd be more centered. But I think my paper down here is cut crooked. And there you go. Then most of the time, you just have to lift that a little. And there's your stencil. It's super simple. It sounds, I feel like I made it sound complicated. It's really not, but for myself, it was a lot of trial and error. Like I would mess up the direction of the paper. I would mess up the stencil would be put in this way. And so you will learn all that just by the mistakes. Or maybe you don't make those mistakes. Let's hope you don't. But then you would pull this apart like that. There's your stencil. You would cut it out. So let's do another one. Maybe with me less rambling. Okay, so like I said, you take, and we'll do the paper from this direction as well. So you pull this piece up, you take this piece away, throw it away. Or this is tracing. If you don't throw things away, you can also trace on this paper. It's very thin, you can see through it. I have so much of it stored up though, I don't necessarily need that. So then you take your pieces there together, open your thing we don't know the name of, put that part in. I leave this section out because like I said, or maybe I didn't say this specifically because I am rambling, this part will get it just messes the flow of the machine up. I don't know if that's a necessary thing. Then you can fold that over and get it out of the way for a second. I have a bunch of geometric in my neck, and so I'm just gonna kind of transfer that through like onto my legs and my stomach and so on. So I'm gonna do this piece as well. If all of this paper bothers you too, you can always cut this down. Like, we'll just do that as an example. Maybe I just don't want to put that whole piece in there, so you can cut all that off. It's your preference. Put it face down. We're going to keep everything the same. We want the same type of image. And then you're going to copy. And I just hold, I'll show you, I just hold the paper up here and try to feed it through as best I can so that it doesn't get jammed up. I just help it. I don't pull on it. I don't make it go through. I just kind of guide it. And there's your stencil. There's another stencil. So we have two different types of stencils, and it did print them out, you know, both. I always like this result where it's, you know, and when you go to cut it, which let me show you an example of that if you're not familiar with it. I mean, you can let this dry a little longer. I've never really had an issue with, you know, it smearing. So here, this is the only piece that you keep. You just separate it from the rest. This again is trash unless you have another purpose or know of another purpose for it. I have not found one yet. And then this you would cut. I've also seen artists like cut the stencil itself like in half to piece it differently, you know, which I find that amazing. I have not practiced that myself, but I do find that they'll just have sections of it and then, you know, piece it together on the client. But this will be your stencil. And so you would, you know, prep the skin and then put this face down, and it's just such a cool process. Okay. We'll do another one. I needed a smaller beehive design for just different areas. Okay, so we're gonna pop the lid up. Okay, I called it a lid. Maybe we can call it a lid. Here's the paper. Pop that down. The machine will rotate it, you know, I guess it kind of knows like the paper's being loaded and such. Take your design, turn it face down. It'll feed in, it'll stop. I then grab my yellow piece, push copy. I was thinking I was just about to show you guys how it maybe doesn't show up, but it showed up. It was just further down on the paper. Oh, I cut that one close. Okay, so here's an example. Had I cut that paper down here, not that it didn't all show on the stencil, it's all there. But had I cut some of this off, that's where it would have printed further up on the paper, because that's just a good example. If you have all that extra paper and it starts feeding through, like this was kind of a close call. I could have, you know, had the stencil go off the actual paper I need. Okay, so there's number 3. I have one more to do. And it's just more geometric. Let's cut that off this time. And I'll show you the difference. We'll just cut the sides down too. Why not? Okay. There's your design. Take your paper, pull that extra piece out that they used to protect. Separate these two together. Slide that part in. And if anybody knows, is this necessary? Is this a normal part of it where you just leave the top out? Or if I, you know, same thing as my other videos, if there's any advice that you can leave below, I'd appreciate it. Design, face down, Copy. Copy. We still have the same settings. That's the same exact type of design we're trying to make. Which, by the way, here were the other ones. Pure black, a light gray scale, and a dark gray scale. I don't know that I've ever used, I think I've used this one, possibly. And then it also shows like all of, you know, your option or your buttons. And then in here, it also shows the setup for how to do this and some more in-depth instructions. And so this was just a good, I would not lose your instruction manual. I know there's tutorials obviously like this, but this has come in the most handy for myself, is being able to just like reference that. See, this one seems kind of light to me. So I feel like in this instance, we could have probably done this setting instead and come out with a bolder line work. But in all reality, once I lay this, I'll be able to see it. Let's take a look at the actual stencil. Oh yeah, see, that's perfectly fine. Like this up here is a little light, but it will still be on my, you know, it'll still be on me. So that is my chaotic tutorial. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. What? Maybe my terminology was off a little, but if you have any advice or know of maybe like a different machine that you yourself purchased and you liked it better, I'd love to know about that. Just leave any comments below. And I appreciate you watching. So basically today I'm going to show you how to use a stencil to, what the hell is this called? Okay, today along the lines of tattooing, I'm going to show you how to use the transfer machine. When I first started tattooing, I did not have a transfer machine. I pretty much freehanded. Okay, I'm going to show you how to plug this up first. And if I had one thing I wish was different with this machine. Okay, let's set up our stencil printer. This is the one I have. It was from Amazon. I think it was around $100. It is honestly, I looked at so many. There's no name on this one. On Amazon, they'll do a lot of, none of this is, okay. Right here, I have my trusty best investment I think I've made tattooing is this stencil printer. No, this does not work. Hello, testing mic, testing mic, testing. Okay, I decided I'm going to change this to an overhead view. I think it's easier that's a much better setup. Okay, so like I was saying, you take your paper, you take that piece out. You know, it looks like this now. You gather the white piece and the ink piece up, and you're going to, we decided, I still don't know the name to this, the top part that holds it, and you're going to take your piece of your stencil paper, you put it in there. This is where it can get jammed, so you want to make sure it is straight and lined up to feed through, okay? Then when you close it, like that, you want to push it down. I don't know if this is what everyone does. I leave this part out because when it feeds through, wait a minute. Today, I'm gonna get straight to the point of how to use the stencil transfer machine I purchased on Amazon so that you can make your own stencils and get yourself tattooing. I purchased this on Amazon. I'm gonna plug it. Okay, today I'm going to show you, and not Ramble, how to use the stencil machine that I purchased from Amazon. I know some people are just looking at how to use it and not backstories and such. So it comes with a power cord. You're going to plug it in.